Okay, so let me now go back to the file and U.S. government and judicial branch in a flash. And it's the wrong one, I think. There we go. This is okay. So then we go to Zoom here and share the screen. And so, okay, so there you see the file. All right, so let me review this one page and single page. See, view one page. Okay, so here you can see the next exercise. You can see, I don't know if we have much time here. There's another exercise I wanted to go to because it covers the politics of Supreme Court nominations. And I think I might want to shift to that because I want to make sure we get through that because the next class is a short class. And so let me go to that file and just to illustrate the politics regarding these issues. So here is Merrick Garland. And Merrick Garland here is portrayed as a judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. And he was nominated by Barack Obama when Barack Obama was president, when Justice Antonin Scalia died suddenly in February 2016. So at the end of Barack Obama's presidency, because the election would happen in November 2016, and of course, Donald Trump would win in November 2016. And it only took, it says here, it only took then President Barack Obama a month to nominate Merrick Garland to fill the vacancy. Does anybody know who this person is today? He's the Attorney General in the Biden administration. So he is the Department of Justice. So he didn't get to be a US Supreme Court justice because he was nominated by Barack Obama, but the Republican Party controlled the Senate. The Senate has to approve these nominations. And the Republican Party under the Republican majority refused to consider approving refused to consider him. Not even vote, not even take a vote on it. And the justification that Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader of the US Senate, said was that this decision is too important and it's too close to the US presidential election that would happen in November. So we should wait until after the election so that the American people can decide whether or not they want Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump to appoint someone to replace Scalia, who died. Of course, it wasn't yet certain that Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton would be the nominees, but that was the argument made by the Republicans, that this decision is so important and too close to the US election, so we should wait until after the election to fill this seat. And of course, so he wasn't ever considered. Nothing was done. Normally, this would have set off a frenzy of meetings, background checks, and preparations for the confirmation hearings. But for Garland, nothing. Members of the Senate Judiciary Committee refused to schedule hearings because a new president would be elected in November. The vacancy was not filled until April 10, 2017, when Donald Trump was president, when Neil Gorsuch, nominated by President Trump, was sworn in. So you're supposed to look at the entry for Garland in the nominee table, compare the president's political party with the party makeup in the Senate. So let's do that. What's doing now? Just a second. So you can see, according to this file, that Garland was nominated by Obama as a Democrat, and he was not approved. But Gorsuch was nominated by Trump, he was Republican, and he was approved. So the bold letters are the people that are on the Supreme Court now. So this was unprecedented. I mean, it was, the claim was that this had never been done before, that Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Senate, because the Republicans dominated the Senate, so they made Mitch McConnell, the Republicans made Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky the leader of the Senate, refused to fill that seat for over a year after Scalia was dead. So for that 14-month period, the US Supreme Court had only 8 judges, not 9. And it was still active and it was still working, but it only had 8 judges. And then the US presidential election began, or the campaign was underway. And as I told you, Donald Trump campaigned promising that if he was nominated by the Republicans as their nominee for president, which he was in summer of 2016, and then if he won the election, he would appoint particular individuals who are approved by the Federalist Society. And the Federalist Society is a very right-wing conservative organization. I think I can find that right now for you if I go to so I'll make sure that you can see this, the Wikipedia entry for the Federalist Society. So the Federalist Society is an organization of conservatives and libertarians that advocates for a textualist and originalist interpretation of the US Constitution. In other words, the Constitution should be interpreted according to how the writers of the Constitution intended. If you want to change the Constitution or expand its powers, that should be done through amending the Constitution. So this is a very conservative group, and they proposed a list of, in January, it says here, of the current 9 members of the US Supreme Court of the United States, 6, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, Clarence Thomas, John Roberts, and Samuel and Amy Coney are current or former members of this organization. And as I told you, Donald Trump promised that he would nominate individuals from this group. And so back to this list. So let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger and easier to see. So there is Thurgood Marshall, who was the first Black person put on the US Supreme Court. As I said, he died in early 1990s, 30 years ago, and was replaced with Clarence Thomas. He was also a lawyer for another interest group, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, that argued before the court to overturn segregation in Brown versus Board of Education in the early 1950s. So judicial philosophy, you see here, those with an originalist, like the Federalist Society, those with an originalist philosophy want to figure out exactly what the founders intended when they wrote the Constitution in 1787. Those who are textualists look only at the text of the Constitution and try to give it a common sense interpretation without looking at any other evidence, such as what the founders or lawmakers might have intended. On the opposite side of the spectrum of judicial philosophy, people who follow the living Constitution theory prefer to interpret the Constitution in the context of modern society and values, recognizing that today's world and the world in 1787 are very different. So originalism as a judicial philosophy Originalism and textualism are considered conservative, while the living constitution theory is considered liberal. But beware, this doesn't mean that judges using these approaches will always arrive at a politically conservative or liberal decision in the case, although they often do. Often they do. Also, judges don't normally cling to one single philosophy. Most often, judges develop their own personal approach and will use several tools of interpretation in order to make a decision, come at a decision. So, so you can see the process by which the president nominates someone. There's a background investigation. Then the Senate Judiciary Committee holds hearings. The committee votes to recommend the nominee to the entire Senate. The entire Senate debates the nomination. The Senate votes to confirm the nominee. The nominee is sworn in as a Supreme Court justice. So Mitch McConnell, leader of the Senate, refused to begin the process of considering Merrick Garland. By the way, this person, Merrick Garland, as Attorney General, he now has to decide whether or not he's going to try to charge Donald Trump with any crimes. He's, as I said, the Attorney General now. So, yeah, so here's the Antonin Scalia. He died in February 2016, leaving only 8 justices on the court, 4 appointed by Republican presidents and 4 appointed by Democratic presidents. The vacancy went unfulfilled for over a year. During this time, very few court decisions were a 4-4 split. The politicization, the claim is that this process of appointing and approving new Supreme Court members has become more and more political. Like he was approved by overwhelming majority of the Senate. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who was just approved 2 weeks ago, the split was, I think, 52-48, with or 53-47, with 3 Republican senators voting to approve her, including Mitt Romney, who ran for president in 2012 and was one of the only Republican senators to vote to convict Donald Trump for crimes in his impeachment trials, and 2 women, Republican women, Senator Murkowski of Alaska and Senator Collins of Maine, Republicans. So the vote was very close. But this process of the politicization of the Supreme Court nomination and approval process is claimed to have begun back in the 1980s with Robert Bork. There you see Ronald Reagan, who was president from 1981 until 1989, who many conservatives consider to be one of the greatest presidents in the history of the United States, that he gets the credit for defeating the Soviet Union, for defeating the evil empire. And he nominated Robert Bork to be a Supreme Court justice. And his nomination was refused by the Senate. The Senate was controlled by the Democrats, and Joe Biden was a senator, and he played a role in defeating his approval. He was controversial for a lot of reasons, which I don't, well, he was most well known for playing some role in Nixon's effort to stop the Watergate investigations when he was in the Department of Justice. He followed Nixon's orders. He fired the special prosecutor that was investigating the Watergate case when the 2 superiors above him said, "No, I quit. I'm not doing that, Richard Nixon. I refuse to fire Archibald Cox, who was investigating the Watergate." So they resigned. And then the person below him resigned. He was 3rd in line. He said, "Okay, I'll fire him." So, but he's supposed to be he's dead. He's supposed to be very, very smart. And, but for example, he made comments that, for example, another Supreme Court ruling, Griswold versus Connecticut, was a ruling that made access to contraceptive medical contraceptives for women, made it legal. That you could not make it illegal to make access to contraceptives illegal. It was unconstitutional to make access to contraceptives illegal. He thought that that was a bad decision. So that's supposedly when this process of the politicization and strong partisan fighting over Supreme Court nominations really became intense, almost 40 years ago. She was nominated by George W. Bush from Texas, and she was not considered qualified, and she withdrew her nomination. Again, more recent development. At this time, he replaced Thurgood Marshall, and again, there's too much detail to go through right now. From the start, Clarence Thomas' nomination was controversial. He was a conservative who would replace a liberal justice, Thurgood Marshall, and Americans with liberal views worried about how he would affect the balance on the court. Members of the Senate Judiciary Committee questioned Thomas about his judicial philosophy, were split about whether to recommend him to the Senate, but nobody could have guessed a much different controversy that was about to rise. Most recently, his wife, Ginny Thomas, has been implicated in the January 6, 2021 insurrection, that she played some role in helping to encourage that with text messages and the like. He became particularly controversial, not just because he was conservative, very conservative, but because one of the women who worked in his office when he was in charge of the Equal Opportunities Commission in the federal government, Anita, what was her name? Anita Hill, another African-American woman, claimed that he sexually harassed her. And that was the first big national discussion on a national level in my memory that we had in the US about the Me Too, what we call the Me Too movement today, treatment of women in the workplace by men. And Joe Biden was head of the Senate Judiciary Committee and supported his nomination. Remember, Joe Biden played a lead in defeating Bork's nomination and supported him, and Joe Biden was seen and others as being unwilling to take seriously Anita Hill's claims, and that her claims were sufficient to warrant not approving him. And I'm sure you can read on, well, see if I find it here. Yes, she was the one that claimed that she worked in his office in the Equal Opportunities Commission. She became a national figure in 1991 when she accused U.S. Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas, her supervisor in the United States Department of Education, and the Equal Opportunities Commission, of sexual harassment. So who else? I think that's, see if I can make this easier to see. So you can see that Mears, she was nominated by George W. Bush. She was a Republican. The Republicans controlled the Senate at the time, but they still didn't approve her because she was not considered qualified. So there wasn't enough investigation of her background. He had been approved as a member of the US Circuit Court of Appeals by, I think, nearly unanimous vote on that decision by the Senate to confirm his nomination to the US District Court of Appeals in the district, Washington, D.C. area. But the Republicans refused to take up his nomination. She died in office and was replaced by Amy Coney Barrett. Very quickly too. And so she's the youngest member of the court. She joined a year and a half ago. And so she will probably be on that court for 30, 40 years. She's younger than me. Okay, that's it for today. And let's just see here who is supposed to debate today. If anybody signed up for a debate. And let me see. It says my internet connection is unstable. Why is my internet? Okay. And okay, so nobody signed up. So we'll have a class debate on Wednesday, okay, on the judiciary. To South Koreans, the power of the judiciary shows the continuing American elite overall distrust in the will of the people. That's the debate question. And that's it for today, okay? All right, bye.